In this video, we will talk about inside the ancient Roman gladiator arena, the brutal truth, so make sure to watch the full video. The ancient Roman gladiator arena was a brutal and captivating spectacle that drew thousands of spectators. Gladiators, often slaves or prisoners, fought to the death in massive amphitheaters like the Colosseum, where crowds cheered for their favorites. These brutal games were not just about combat, they symbolized the power and dominance of the Roman Empire. Gladiators were trained in specialized schools, mastering various weapons and fighting styles. Over time, these bloody contests became a central part of Roman culture, evolving into a complex form of entertainment that continues to fascinate us today. The legacy of the gladiator games still endures in modern culture. 1. The gladiator games, origins and evolution. The origins of gladiatorial combat date back to ancient Rome, where the tradition began as a funeral rite. Initially, these deadly contests were held to honor the deceased, believed to appease the spirits of the dead through combat. However, over time, the games became a form of entertainment for the public and a tool for politicians to gain favor with the masses. The games grew more elaborate, attracting large crowds, and gradually transitioned into large-scale spectacles that could include wild animal hunts, naval battles, and mock warfare. The events evolved from small-scale rituals to full-fledged battles fought in grand amphitheaters, becoming one of the most iconic aspects of ancient Roman culture and society. 2. Life of a gladiator. From captive to fighter, a gladiator's life was harsh and brutal, beginning with capture or voluntary servitude. Many gladiators were slaves, prisoners of war, or criminals forced into training, but some were free men who chose the profession in search of fame and fortune. These men, known as auctorati, sought to gain wealth, attention, and a measure of honor through their participation. The daily existence of a gladiator was marked by grueling training, strict discipline, and minimal personal freedom. Gladiators trained under the supervision of experienced trainers in specialized schools called ludi. Here, they were taught combat techniques using various weapons and were forced to maintain peak physical fitness. 3. The Colosseum, the iconic arena of death. The Colosseum, also known as the Flavian Amphitheater, is the most famous arena in ancient Rome and the symbol of the gladiatorial games. Completed in 80 AD, it could hold between 40,000 and 70,000 spectators, making it an awe-inspiring architectural achievement. The Colosseum hosted countless gladiatorial combat events, as well as public spectacles like animal hunts, mock naval battles, and executions. Its design featured a sophisticated system of tunnels and trapdoors, allowing for surprise entrances and dramatic displays. The arena was designed not just for functionality but for grandeur, reflecting the might and power of the Roman Empire. 4. Types of gladiators. Different weapons, different skills. Gladiators came in various forms, each with unique skills and weaponry that made each battle distinct. There were numerous types of gladiators, each with specialized training and techniques, allowing for diverse and visually exciting fights. One of the most famous was the murmillo, a heavily armed fighter who used a large rectangular shield and a gladius sword, often fighting against lighter armed opponents. Another popular type was the retiarius, a gladiator armed with a net and trident, who relied on agility and strategy to ensnare his opponent. The Thrax, inspired by the Thracian soldiers, wielded a curved sword called a sika and a small shield, favoring fast, close combat. 5. The brutal combat, fights to the death or mere spectacle? The idea of gladiatorial combat as a series of death matches has been romanticized in modern culture, but in reality, not all gladiator fights were fought to the death. Many combats were intense and brutal, but most gladiators fought to win, with survival as their primary goal. In fact, it was often in the best interest of a gladiator to remain alive, as dead fighters could no longer earn money or fame. However, the fate of a defeated gladiator was often determined by the crowds or the sponsor of the games. If a gladiator was deemed unworthy or cowardly, the crowd could call for his death, shouting the word pollice verso, thumbs down, though some evidence suggests the thumb gesture may have had a different meaning. Despite this, it is likely that a significant number of fights were stopped before death occurred, with surrender or injuries leading to the end of combat. 6. The role of the crowd, how public opinion shaped fates. The role of the crowd in determining the fate of gladiators cannot be overstated. The public's reaction to a fight could directly influence whether a defeated gladiator lived or died. Spectators at the Colosseum and other arenas were often vocal and enthusiastic, cheering for their favorite fighters and booing those they didn't like. After a fight, it was up to the crowd to decide the fate of the defeated gladiator. If they wanted him to live, they would chant for mercy, and if they wanted him to die, they would call for his execution. Emperors, sponsors, and other officials were often swayed by the demands of the crowd, and this dynamic helped reinforce the entertainment-driven culture of the games. 7. Gladiator training. Harsh discipline in the ludus. The ludus was a training school where gladiators were prepared for the arena. These schools were notoriously harsh, and the conditions were far from comfortable. Gladiators were trained to fight using various weapons, and the training focused not only on combat techniques but also on physical endurance and discipline. Life in the ludus was strict, with gladiators required to follow a regimented schedule of training, eating, and resting. The trainers, known as doctors, were often retired gladiators themselves who imparted their brutal knowledge to the new recruits. The gladiators were taught how to fight with swords, shields, and other weapons, and they were also trained in specific strategies and tactics depending on their role in the arena. 8. Famous gladiators. Legends born from the arena. Some gladiators became famous and even revered, transcending their brutal profession to achieve celebrity status. One of the most well-known gladiators in Roman history is Spartacus, a Thracian gladiator who led a major slave revolt against the Roman Republic from 73 to 71 BC. His legacy as a symbol of resistance and freedom endures to this day. Another famous gladiator was Flama, who fought in over 30 battles and won the crowd's favor, earning multiple awards for his prowess in the arena. Despite the often short and violent lives of most gladiators, these men became legends, admired for their strength, skill, and bravery. 9. The gladiator's legacy. Influence on modern culture. The legacy of gladiatorial combat continues to shape modern culture in many ways, particularly in the entertainment industry. Movies like Gladiator and Spartacus have romanticized the blood-soaked history of these ancient fighters, inspiring audiences around the world. The concept of gladiators as heroes or anti-heroes has been carried into modern media, and the imagery of the arena has been used in everything from sports events to video games. The term gladiator itself has become synonymous with bravery, survival, and fighting against the odds. 10. The end of the gladiator games. Decline and abolition. The gladiator games began to decline in the 3rd and 4th centuries AD, primarily due to the changing values of Roman society and the rise of Christianity. As the Roman Empire faced economic struggles and internal conflicts, the cost of staging elaborate gladiatorial games became prohibitive. Christian leaders, who viewed the games as barbaric, increasingly condemned the spectacles, leading to growing opposition. In 404 AD, the final recorded gladiatorial contest took place in the Colosseum, when the Emperor Honorius officially banned the games. The legacy of the Roman gladiator games is one of both admiration and horror. These brutal spectacles, once a symbol of Roman power and entertainment, have left an indelible mark on history. Gladiators, who fought for survival and fame, became legends in their own right, inspiring tales of bravery and sacrifice. While the games eventually faded away, their cultural influence remained strong, shaping modern ideas of heroism and combat. Today, the history of gladiators continues to captivate our imaginations, serving as a reminder of the dark, yet fascinating, aspects of ancient Rome's societal structure. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. Also, subscribe to our channel before you go. Thank you for watching.